In the winter of 1944, the Netherlands was starving, not because of drought alone, and not because of war alone, but because of a deliberate blockade. After Dutch railway workers launched a strike against Nazi occupation, Germany retaliated by cutting food and fuel supplies to Western Netherlands, including cities like Amsterdam and The Hague. Then came one of the harshest winters in decades. Rivers froze, transport collapsed, food disappeared, and famine spread. It became known as the Hunger Winter. In just 5 months, more than 20,000 people died. People burned furniture just to stay warm, and survival meant eating anything they could find: tree leaves, wild plants, even tulip bulbs. This was not just a crisis. It was a national trauma that changed everything. But what came next was almost impossible to imagine. A country once devastated by hunger transformed into one of the most powerful agricultural exporters in the world. A small nation with limited land, much of it reclaimed from the sea, rose to become the second largest agricultural exporter globally after the United States. In 2024 alone, the Netherlands exported around $140 billion in agricultural products. This raises a powerful question. How did a country this small outperform giants like Brazil, China, and Canada? The answer begins after World War II. The memory of famine turned into a national promise. Never again. Nooit meer honger, never again hunger. But this was not just a slogan. It became a national strategy. Government, farmers, and scientists aligned around one goal: permanent food security. Agriculture stopped being tradition and became national survival. One of the key figures in this transformation was Agriculture Minister Sicko Mansholt, who led the shift from small traditional farms to an industrial agricultural system. Farms were consolidated, production was optimized, and agriculture became a strategic sector supported by long-term planning. But the real revolution came from something deeper: science. The Dutch made a radical decision. Agriculture would no longer depend only on land, water, and labor. It would depend on research, technology, and innovation. At the center of this transformation stood Wageningen University and Research, which became one of the most powerful agricultural institutions in the world. Massive investment turned it into the intellectual engine of Dutch agriculture. But Wageningen was never just a university. It became part of a larger system known as the Golden Triangle, a model connecting government, research institutions, and private industry. Government provides policy and funding, scientists develop solutions, farmers test them in real conditions, and companies scale them into real-world technologies. Instead of working in isolation, the system operates as a continuous loop of innovation. Farmers bring problems, researchers find answers, and businesses turn those answers into products. Innovation becomes constant rather than occasional. This structure changed everything. Even leading farmers credit it for their success. Dutch tomato grower Ted de Visser described collaboration with scientists as the key to continuous breakthroughs. In this system, innovation does not come from individuals alone. It comes from networks working together. As Wageningen became a global hub, major food companies moved closer to it. Today, 15 of the world's top 20 food companies operate research centers in the Netherlands, not by coincidence, but to stay connected to one of the most advanced agricultural ecosystems in the world. This leads to the second secret: the empire of glass. The Netherlands has limited farmland and a cold, wet climate. Instead of adapting agriculture to nature, it adapted nature itself. If the environment is not suitable, create a new one. This idea transformed the country into the global leader in greenhouse agriculture. Across the Netherlands, thousands of acres are covered in glass. In Westland, near Rotterdam, entire landscapes are made of greenhouses, earning the nickname the Glass City. At night, the glow of artificial light turns the region into something almost futuristic. But inside these structures, everything is controlled. Temperature, humidity, light, and carbon dioxide, turning farming into engineering. The result is extraordinary. 1 hectare in these systems can outperform many hectares of traditional farming, especially in crops like tomatoes and lettuce. And nowhere is this transformation clearer than in tomatoes. Dutch tomatoes were not always successful. In the past, they were criticized for being hard, watery, and lacking flavor, as the focus was on yield and transport rather than quality. But this changed with advances in genetics, climate control, and lighting technologies like near-infrared systems. Companies like AgroCare helped transform the Netherlands into a global leader in premium tomato production, with massive greenhouse operations producing tens of millions of kilograms annually. But the real breakthrough is water efficiency. To produce 1 kilogram of tomatoes, Dutch farms use only around 4 liters of water, compared to a global average of 100 to 200 liters. This difference is not luck, it is precision. Water is delivered directly to roots and recycled through closed systems, meaning almost nothing is wasted. This efficiency translates into production, where Dutch farms reach some of the highest yields in the world per square meter. Behind this system is soil-free agriculture, or hydroponics, where climate, nutrients, and lighting are fully controlled. Many farms also reduce chemical use by replacing pesticides with biological control systems. They use predatory insects such as Phytoscilis, Persimilis, which eliminate harmful pests naturally. It is not chemical warfare. It is ecological balance inside a controlled system. Innovation continues even further into seeds. In the north of the Netherlands lies Seed Valley, a global hub for seed innovation. Companies like Enza Zayden, once small family businesses, have become global leaders in agricultural genetics, operating in more than 25 countries and investing heavily in research and development. Each year, they develop hundreds of new plant varieties designed to resist disease, adapt to climate change, and increase productivity. Their seed banks preserve thousands of genetic variations, and when new diseases appear, scientists return to this genetic library to find natural resistance. Billions of seeds from Dutch companies are planted worldwide every year. But innovation does not stop there. It moves into vertical farming. Entire buildings now function as farms, where crops grow in stacked layers under LED lighting, without soil, and in fully controlled environments. Some systems can feed entire cities using only a fraction of traditional land. Everything is automated: planting, monitoring, harvesting, with minimal human intervention. Water is recycled, nutrients are optimized, and production is continuous. The result is a system that produces more food with less land, less water, and fewer chemicals. And that is the essence of the Dutch experiment. Not abundance, but efficiency. Not size, but intelligence. In the end, 3 lessons define this story. Crises can become the starting point of transformation. Science is not optional, it is the foundation of progress, and technology can overcome scarcity. A small country did not win by having more resources, but by redefining how those resources are used.